Y'all, so I'm finally on my way home after rescuing my baby daddy once again. So I'm laying at home on my couch, minding my business, resting up for tonight's festivities of fun, food, and alcohol. I roll over, finna get ready to get comfortable and get some sleep, and my phone going berserk. I pick up the phone and I realize it's my baby daddy calling. So I'm like, I have my child. So what are you calling me for? So it could be anything. I answer the phone, all I hear is I'm like, hello? He talking about, Sherelle, where you at? I'm like, I'm at home. Why? He told me, man, can you come get me? I'm like, why? What happened? He told me, man, this freaking Mexican done pulled out in front of me and done wrecked my whole car. I said, oh, okay. So by the time I said, oh, okay, I realized that Jaylee was in the mix, so she looking at me. So now I got to put on this facade of concern. So I'm like, Joseph, where you at? He said, man, I'm in Irving. I'm down here hurt and everything. I done had to get patched up, bandaged, and all of that. I said, all right, man. Now, the entire time while I'm sitting here talking to him, he on speaker so Jaylee can hear everything that's going on. My homeboy, Trey, then came over to the house. We getting some work knocked out before we go take on the night. So I'm like, all right, man, I got to go get him. You going to be good here? You ain't going to be scared of nothing, right? He told me, what am I going to be scared for? And I'm like, I'm just saying, new territory, and it just might be a little different to you. So I get up, I put on my socks, I put on my shoes, Jaylee get together, and we get in the car. I text him, I'm like, you got to drop the location. Like, I don't know exactly where it is that I'm going. So he dropped the loc. I'm about 20 minutes away, so I'm driving. I get there, and I don't see a sign of a wreck nowhere, right? So I text him, I'm like, where you at? By the time I done press send, I done hit the U-turn that the location required me to do, and I see him standing over there on the curb with his pants leg cut all the way up to his thigh, and then he got bandages around his leg. So I'm sitting here like, ain't this some shit? Now, before we made it to the location, Jaylee was like, man, my daddy in another wreck. The first time he was in a wreck was downtown Dallas, and he hit this lady, and then she flew across the road. Now he in a wreck with some Mexicans. I said, ain't that crazy, Jaylee? Your daddy can't drive. She talking about, who? Lord. So I pull up. Joseph hobble over to the car and everything. First things first, he get in the car talking, man, the fucking Mexicans, man. Man, I literally just fixed my fucking car, bro. And then they done messed it up again. Like, this shit is crazy. I said, Joseph, you can't fucking drive. He told me, man, I taught you how to fucking drive. I said, no, you didn't. I taught myself how to drive. So now we sitting here arguing back and forth about who knows how to drive, who can, who taught who how to drive. And Jaylee's sitting there like, this is what we doing? This is what we doing? So I'm like, it don't even matter. I said, Jaylee, when it comes time for you to drive and when it's time for me to buy you a car, I'm gonna teach you how to drive. He talking about, like, hell you is. You can't even drive. You used to wreck by a Avenger all the time. I said, this ain't about that. So we sitting there, we talking. He ended up getting on the phone with who I think is his wife or whatever. And she's like, oh, thank you for going to go get him. Like, I'm stuck at work till 5. I couldn't do anything. He didn't need to be standing out there. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So she started asking him questions about, like, did they try to find him? Did they get any information? You know, concerning questions that a wife should ask her husband. So he said, well, my mama, she about to send me the money to go and get my car out the pound. But the only reason that we was in a wreck or whatever was because I was sitting there trying to pay my insurance bill, and then the dude pulled out and I didn't see him. So I'm sitting here like, it wasn't his fault then. It was your fault. You driving that big ass truck and you trying to pay a bill and not pay attention to the road. Like, it's a difference. Like, I know I'm recording right now and driving, but that's because I'm a good ass driver. So while he's saying all of that, she hang up the phone and his mama called. His mama called and she was like, well, I couldn't come up with $399, but I came up with $335. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you ain't got the money to go get your car out of the impound. Now, mind you, everybody has their own responsibilities. Everybody runs into something. Everybody has, like, some type of situation where they may need a little bit of help. But, like, this nigga always needs some help type shit. Like, you're finna be 40, my guy. But whatever. So while he talking to his mama, and she was like, well, all I got is cash. Like, because, you know, I don't do the cash app. I don't do none of that. Like, she's older, so she doesn't really understand it. So he was like, Sherelle, you got $335? I'm like, 335 what? He talking about 335. 335 who? No, I don't got no money. So I've been practicing on the whole not lying thing, right? So even when I said I didn't have no money, I was like, well, Bank of America has sent me some checks or whatever for when they close out my account. but I have to deposit those or try to cash, but it's Saturday, so I can't do it. He was like, man, Walmart to do it, or you could go to PLS. I said, I'm not gonna pay PLS nothing to cash money that belong to me. So I pull up to Walmart, you know, out of due diligence, like, let me attempt to help. So I go inside of Walmart, and I asked the lady, I said, I got 2 checks from my bank. Can you cash them? She was like, no, we can't cash cashier's checks. You got to take them to the bank or put them in your account. So I come back out, and I was like, well, the lady said that I couldn't cash the checks. He was like, man, fuck. So his wife called back. She was like, well, how much money do you need? He was like, well, I need $145 to pay the minimum on my insurance, and then I need the $190 to get my car out of the impound, right? So she was sitting there talking or whatever the case was. So she was like, well, I could send you $145 on Cash App. So she ended up Cash Apping the money, but while he on the phone, I heard him say to her, like, well, I got $190 in my savings account or whatever, right? So mind you, you got all the money, but you still sitting here asking people for other money. So I'm like, man, I ain't got all day to be sitting here trying to run you around like I'm some type of cab driver. Like, Jaylee has obligations today, I got obligations, and you just finna have to figure it out. So I pull up, and Jaylee get out, she go get her clothes and everything, and then she get into the car where her cousins, they about to go to Dave & Buster's so that they can celebrate the birthday. So I pull up to the store, I get a Red Bull, I come back out, and I'm like, so where am I going? Like, you sitting in my back seat like I'm an Uber driver or something. Where am I going? He talking about, you could take me home, I guess, because I gotta change my pants. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. So I get on the road and I drive him, I take him home. He get out of the car, I'm like, man, don't do nothing crazy. He talking about, man, them fucking Mexicans, I ain't finna do nothing crazy, I'm finna change my motherfucking pants. Moral of the story is, every time that motherfucker get into an accident or get into a situation where he ain't got nobody who will actually come to his motherfucking rescue, he calling me. And what do my dumb ass get up and do? Go fucking rescue him. Listen, have a heart, but be mindful of your heart. That's all.